Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's lab session. I am going to bring Packet Tracer right up and I'll tell you what we'll be doing today. I'll share my screen now and we're good to go. I'll have my notes here as usual. My note, okay? So today we're going to be configuring IPv4 addresses statically and dynamically. So when we say static IPv4 address configuration, we mean that we will manually configure those devices with the IPv4 addresses, so manual input, right? When we say dynamically, we're going to use a protocol called DHCP, and that's Dynamic Host Configuration, a protocol that automatically assigns IP addresses. And the reason why DHCP is useful, so just imagine that you have a very large network, hundreds of devices that needs, IP addresses. You wouldn't want to do that manually because of time and then error as well. So DHCP makes it easier, faster to configure IPv4 addresses. There's also DHCP version 6 for IPv6 addresses, but today we're focusing on static and dynamic IPv4 addresses configuration. But you have to know that there are some devices that it's not advisable to use DHCP or to assign their IPs dynamically because we want them stable. So things like your printer, for example, your server, for example, we want those IP addresses to be static, right? So yeah, let's just jump right in. Okay, so our objective today, like I said, we're going to configure IPv4 addresses for some cases. Then we will also configure dynamic IPv4 addresses using DHCP. Then we'll test them using the ping. So let's jump right in. I already have the IP addresses that I want to configure. So let's go right in. First, we need our PCs, right? I'm just going to make it small, straight to the point, so we get the gist. So we need our PCs. We need our switch. We use it to 2960 right here. We need two more PCs. Two more PCs. Then we need a router. So our router is going to be our DHCP server. So let's use a router. Let's use 4331 right here. Okay. Just nice and small, straight to the point. So now what we want to do, or what we are going to start with, is the static IPv4 address configuration, and we're going to do that on these two pieces right here that I circled, right? We will jump right into it by opening it up, and then we go to our desktop IP configuration tab. Now, if you can see closely, we have IP configuration options. We have the DHCP as an option, then we also have static, right? We're going to use static for this PC. Our IP address that we would like to assign statically or manually is 192.168.7.10. It will be on subnet mask 255.255.255.0, right? Okay, so before we do this, remember I said that the router is going to be our DHCP server, right? And also the router is our default gateway. So we want to set up our router first. So let me come back to this. Let's set up. Guys, guess what? We didn't even connect these devices. So let's do that. Let's do that right away. Use our straight through cable, fast Ethernet port on PC, fast Ethernet on the switch. Do the same real quick for others, fast Ethernet, PC, fast Ethernet on the switch. Do the same fast Ethernet on the PC, fast Ethernet on the switch. Do the same fast Ethernet on the PC, fast Ethernet on the switch. Do the same fast Ethernet on the PC, and fast it and gigabit Ethernet on the router, right? So let's configure the router's interface first. As you can see, no IP address is configured, nothing. Let's go right in to the CLI. Yeah. Okay, so we use the enable. I always like to rename my router. So host name, and let's do router and DHCP, right? Router and DHCP. Okay. Oh, guys, config team. So configure your terminal, right? Okay, we're good. Hostname, router, and let's see router, then DHCP. Let's just keep it short and simple, right? So now you can see that that has changed right here. Okay, good. Then we want to go to the interface gigabit. That's that was on 0/0/0, right? Now we want to assign IP address here, 192.168.7.1, because that's a default gateway. And our subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Okay, 91.637.1. Okay, then we want to bring that link up, no shutdown. Okay, so change states to up. Okay, it's up now. Then we exit this, right? Okay, now let's see the running configs here. Show run. Okay, so we have our host name. Then let's check for more. We have our IP address on that interface. Okay, so let's pause on this for now while we set up the static pieces, because we already have our default gateway, right? Okay, so let's get back here. We were here before. So the default gateway is 192.168.7.1. That's the router's IP address, that interface, 7.1. Okay. We're good on this one. Let's do the same for the second PC. I'm going to give the second PC the Okay, I'll give the second PC 192.168.7.11. So let's do that. 192.168.7.11. Yeah, 255.255.255.0 subnet mask. Then our default gateway 192.168.7.1. Right? Okay, we're we're good on that. Okay. Now we've statically configured IPv4 addresses on those two pieces right there. We would then set up our router as the DHCP server, right? So that we can configure these two pieces below with IP addresses dynamically, right? And how do we do that? Let's jump right into our router again. So we want to go back to configure our terminal, config T, and then we want to say IP DHCP. Then now, why it's DHCP code is because you have to have a network, so like a pool of addresses in a network that it can then pick addresses from that pool and assign to devices that need. So there's like a pool of addresses and it can then pick, right? But we need to state the extent of that pool, right? So, and you also need to state like the name as well. So let's just name this dynamic pool. Guys, you have to check for spelling errors. DHCP pool, then our name of that pool. Right, okay, then like I said, you have to state the network, right? And where it can pick addresses from. So say, okay, A's, right? A's, maybe B's or something. Network A, whatever. So our network for this, recall we use 192.168.7 for the other pieces. So we want to also use that here because they're on the same network. Remember, it's just that we are automatically trying to assign this and not doing it manually, right? So 192.168.7 dot 0, right? Then 255.255.255.0, right? And then we also want to say our default router is this 192.168.7.1. Yeah, that's our default, right? And then we can then exit this. Okay, good. Now, remember that we had assigned two IPs statically to those two pieces, and we want to exclude those IP addresses so that it doesn't go to that pool and then assigns them, right? Because we've already assigned those ones. And also, you might need to also, as I said, have devices that need static IP addresses. So it's always advisable to have like excluded, addresses that you could use to statically assign some of these devices, or if you already assigned them, you just want to exclude them from this pool, right? So IP DHCP excluded address. Now, if you want to exclude just one address, you just state that singular address 192.168.7.0. But if you have like a range, so let's say from .7 to maybe .11, which is the last pieces IP address, you would just leave a space, then you add the end 192.168.7. We can do .12 because the last IP address that was statically configured was .11, so we can do .12 here. Okay. Then we're good on this. So now let's dynamically configure these two pieces below here. Right? Let's do that because I think we're good. So we open it up, then desktop, IP configuration, and then this time around we will select DHCP. So requesting, oh, fantastic. Did you guys see that? We're able to get our IP address here, 192.168.7.13. Recall we excluded from .7.0 to .7.12, right? And then it picked up from the next number, 13. And also look at the subnet mask, accurate. The default gateway is also accurate. This is good. So let's do the same for the other PC, and then we can then test, right? So the other PC, desktop, IP configuration, DHCP. We're selecting DHCP here. Then we're waiting. Wow. We have 192.168.7.14. This is good, guys. So let's try the ping and just know that, okay, this ones that we configured statically can talk to these ones that we configured dynamically. So let's go right in to command prompt. If you want to check the IP configuration, you just do the IP config command. There you have it there, right? But what we want to do is want to ping 192.168.7.14, which is the second PC that received IP address dynamically, right? Let's ping that. This is good. So we received responses, right? Let's check from PC2 to PC1, right? So from dynamic to static. Command prompt. Let's check our IP config first. Let's see what's going up there. Okay. Good. Now let's ping 192.168.7. That was 11. Let's tick. Guys, this is good. We have feedback. So this was a good one, and I hope that you will try it. So today we learned how to configure static IPv4 addresses for some PCs, also configured dynamically using the DHCP. Then we also tested, and we're good to go. Thank you guys for joining today. See you around the next one.